Gentlemen, joining me right now is the newest member of Atlanta, joining his old Tiny Terror buddies from Reunited. They won a world championship, if you recall that last season. Of course you do. And now they are reunited under the Atlanta FaZe banner. I'm talking about Arcitys, former Chicago Huntsmen player, now joining the Atlanta FaZe. How does that sound? Have you
It just
gotten used
sound
to the...
no, not at all. It sounds so weird. I streamed this morning. I just heard, welcome FaZe. I was like, what? It's just still so new to me. It's crazy.
It's especially crazy because that's the team you faced last in the postseason, right?
Um,
So it's almost as if like there's lingering feelings there, but then now you're joining that team.
yeah, only team I lost to at champs. It's okay. They call me the Kevin Durant of COD.
That's right. My next chapter. There should be like a
Hmm.
Players Tribune, Arcitys, my next chapter, going to the Atlanta FaZe.
Yes.
I like it. So, well, to talk to me about why you chose the FaZe. Like, I mean, obviously we'll get into everything leading up to it, but why Atlanta?
I mean, so like, obviously, like what I said was just like true. Like, I want to be a main. The 5v5 to 44, it was like the more I thought about it late night, like thinking not late, like super late at night, just sitting there, like if I don't make this move for myself, I'm gonna hate myself like over and over. If I'm like the one getting like I can't shoot straight, I can't do something with a sub. I'm like I have to just make the decision fast, or I'm gonna either one regret it, or two I'm gonna be on a team I don't want to be on, being running a main. And so just choosing this team was like it was a shot in the dark. Like I was like, yo, like what does this sound like? And it's like I talked to Tyler, Chris, like I was just talking to all of them, and I was like what are the chances happens? And when we got together, and it turned out like it happened somehow. So I'm excited to be playing with those guys, and I'm actually super excited to be working with the coaching staff too.
How much of a formidable opponent were they? Like when you faced them throughout this. We didn't necessarily get the Chicago Atlanta matchup right away. Like we had to wait for it, right? It kind
Yeah,
of
we were throwing.
percolated until we finally did, but then we saw it in the postseason, of course. But like, what did you make of that team throughout the season and how impressive they were?
Oh, they're super impressive. When we always like me, Tyler, and MC always talking late night, and Chris does his thing now. But like we're talking about it, like I did not know they only had 2 wins over the whole MW year. I was kind of mind blown about that. I was like, yeah, like that can be true. Like you've won more than us, and they're like, no, we have like 7 second place finishes. I was like, that's crazy. Like that's actually a just absurd amount. So like, I don't know.
Well, now you get to talk about it a lot more because you're on the team.
Yeah.
Let's go in order, actually, because there's so much to unpack, right? Like, so much news came out, and now we're hearing about when players heard about certain news. I'd like to ask you, obviously, the big news here and the reason why there's so much free agency frenzy happening right now is because of the shift from 5v5 to 4v4. When did you first hear about this news?
I want to say it accidentally got leaked in like 3 weeks before champs, and it was just it was like something like a little mistake happened in a call, and like everyone caught on. They're like everyone was like DMing each other and stuff, and I was like, okay, like this is not good for some of the teams that like don't have strong mental attitudes or like. So it's like it was kind of like a stressful situation before champs, but like I know my team was fine because it's just or like no one cares. Like it's all about winning. Like like people don't look at the bigger picture. Like even if you win and you're that guy that gets dropped, you're going to be the face of the next team. You're going to get whoever you want. I mean, look at Clay right now. He's probably sitting in a chair, just leaning back, just posted up with a phone in his hand, looking at every email he has.
Just fielding, just like swipe. It's almost like
Yeah,
a team dating app where he's swiping left or right
yeah.
on who he wants to talk
He's
to.
like, so what are you doing today? And just like, I don't know.
Yeah. So, okay, see that's interesting because like some teams I've heard that the owners just directly had conversations with their players and just told them straight up like Dallas did that where they all knew and you heard it by accident. So like what were those conversations like with the players? Like how were you able to say, "You know what, we got to put this aside" because that's such a giant news. Like even though you're on the route to trying to win a world championship, one of you at least is going to have a different jersey next year or lose their job on that team.
I mean, uh, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it because like
Okay.
it's a sensitive subject. It's like all I could say is there's 4 people. There's one person that got picked up halfway through the year, obviously Preston. And it was kind of like a bad situation for him. So it's like us 4 were like, oh, that core forward throughout the whole year, and he was just like an added person, like, and he just like he was gonna get the short end of the stick no matter what it seemed like, and it was just a terrible situation.
As much as you're willing to share, what do you think is next for your brother?
I think besides that one match versus FaZe where we did take him to Game 5, I think he played incredible this year and got a lot of flack for nothing. It seemed like he played really good for the role he ran. Like he joined a team of 4 superstars and made it work. Like he joined and made us get better in hardpoint, made us get better in S&D domination. I still don't even know how to play dom. I don't think anyone does, but it's like Preston deserves a spot over a lot of people, and it's not. That's not me saying it because I'm his brother, but I do think he's one of the better players. And I think he's ran a role, and he's obviously won in it. And he just got he took a he tried taking advantage of a spot like that he got put in, and I respect him for it.
What was that conversation like when? I mean, obviously we don't know what Preston's next move is, but what was the conversation like with your bro when you signed on the dotted line and you were leaving Chicago and joining Atlanta?
Um, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like they told both of us at the same time. Like I told him I was like I want to be a main, and they told him like a day later like you're free to look at whatever you want or whoever you want, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Like me and him like we had this conversation last year. It's like this is our career. This isn't a family business. So it's like we got to make career choices that are like choices that will better our career. And like we both know that we both love each other. It's that's how life works. So it wasn't that big of a deal for us this time.
Do you think he'll be a starter next year?
Oh, of course.
Mhm.
But I mean, if he starts, he's getting these hands this time.
Okay, I do want to ask about that because like we did a bunch of roundtables, and then we'll move on from this subject. But
Yeah.
we did Emily Rand and I, my esteemed colleague, we did a bunch of roundtables on like our favorite moments about the regular season. And for me, I always go back to that matchup, Florida versus Chicago, brother versus brother, right? Like for me, like I was there, I interviewed both of you after the fact. It was like a roller coaster of emotions. It was like probably one of the most hype and like sensational moments of the season to me, right? There's so much happening in that moment and just like the wave of emotions for both of you, right? Like I asked you immediately afterwards, but now that you've had time to think about it and now that we're like months removed from that, how do you look back on that match?
Um, I learned from it. I learned that 5 of the best players in the game can't always win off skill. I think that's how my whole team looked at it. That was the that was the downfall of us with Pierce, and uh, I don't know. It's just I've always been a player that wants to like watch VOD and like get better as a team outside of COD, and I just felt like with that 5, we didn't start watching VODs until like when we got Preston, and again like that's
Why?
I think watching VODs was huge. What'd you
What
say?
was the reasoning? What was the reasoning for that? Just that was
Watching
not part of
VODs?
it. Yeah,
Like not watching VODs before?
yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know. We didn't on United. We didn't watch VODs until like the end of the year with Bryce. Bryce like made us get on an hour early before every day watch VODs, and I think I don't know. That's not like that was like a team decision. So I don't know. We just never like said, "Yo, let's watch VODs today" or "Let's watch VODs this day." We tried we tried going over stuff in game, but like it was so hard sometimes. But we got it to work.
Are you somebody that appreciates watching VOD? Is that
Oh,
something
of
that you
course.
greatly benefit from?
Oh,
Okay.
of course.
So
I mean,
did you find it difficult then?
um, no. I Nah, not really. I think you can't make it's hard to make 5 people or like on the same page, especially in that Call of Duty, because there was like at the start of the year, it's always hard to find stuff to watch VODs unless it's your own scrims, and we're streaming our scrims anyways, so it's like we could have just went back and rebroadcast and watched it together, and it's just like I don't know. I feel like it wasn't like no, it wasn't someone in particular. It's just all of us just being lazy.
What about just particularly playing against your bro and the fact that like there was no rematch, right? That was the only time, and then all of a sudden he joins the team. So like, how much did you guys even talk about that? Uh,
Oh, we still talk
days,
about
weeks,
it.
month. You still talk
We
about it.
still
Does he
talk
still
about
bring
it.
it up every now and then?
Yeah, I tell him I have more chips than him. He says I'm 1-0 against you. I'm like, come on. I'm like, dude, it's fine. I still have more chips than you. He says you've went to land more than me. I was like, all right, come on, come on, man. It's like it's just I do like that was like one of the only moments where I was like, okay, we have to beat this. We have to beat them, and I was super confident going into it. And it's just again, it's just 5 giants sometimes can't win everything.
I
It's
love that
just
he just
confidence.
brings it up. I love that he just needles you with it. Like that's such a brother thing to
Oh,
do. I
we're
love
very
it.
competitive too.
Is there a small part of you that like, let's assume Preston, there's an announcement coming, Preston makes another main roster. Is there a part of you that's very happy that you get to face him again? Like to
Um,
get that win back?
I my lying answer would be no. I don't care who I play, but my truthful answer is yes. Like, yeah, I do want to play him. I do want to beat him, and I do want to have that interview after and shove it in his face, just because
That
how competitive we are.
yeah. I mean that the whole moment after the matchup. I don't want to bring up an old wound, but it's just like it's
It's
such a
not a wound anymore.
fascinating.
It's a
Yeah.
learning lesson.
It's such a fat like to me it's like just like the interaction between you two like it's almost as if like Preston was like between like, oh man, I don't want to like rag on my brother, but I do want to rag on my brother. I'm gonna go and hug him, but then I'm gonna tell him that I don't need you. Like there was so many like different emotions happening on stage as soon as he won. Like it was such a crazy moment. And then you're
Yeah.
slouched on your chair, but then afterwards you're both standing there with courage and like you're both drained. And then we did an interview and you guys are like trying to verbalize your thoughts, but you're still like having gone through this emotional roller coaster and you're both drained of energy. Like it's
Yeah,
just crazy.
I think like the first 10 seconds of after like the match, it was just our competitive side. Then like him walking over, he realized he's like, oh, so it's like it's whatever. Like it was a learning lesson for me. It was probably something he's gonna hold over me no matter what, because how our stacked my roster was versus how stacked his roster was. So it's like I'll give him that. I learned from it, but I'll always come back and give him 180% no matter what. If I ever play him.
Okay, so let's go through the postseason. Chicago bows out in third, loses to Atlanta. You know the 4v4 news at this point,
Yeah.
right? So, how soon after that match did you start having conversations or did you start
Wasn't
talking to the team?
it wasn't soon at all. I think it was like a week after, I believe. I texted Troy. I said, "Yo, like I don't know what I want to do. Like, can we talk?" And he tried telling like walking me through. He's like, "Bro, like no one should be mad if you do want to run a main." And I was just like, "Dude, like I don't know what I want to do." And he's like, "Just take your time and like try to help. Like do what you want to do. Do what you want to do for your career." And I obviously like I talked to Hector, and he's like, "That's fine. Like." It's no bad blood. We're here now.
Did they like what was the order of events? Like was it they did they offer anything to you before you made that decision to run a main? Like that was important to you? Like how did that sequence of events happen?
Uh, it's just, I mean, it was just a straight up like, it was just like, oh, we're not gonna like make you be on this roster if you don't want to be on this roster. It was just
Okay.
like that, just straight up. I mean, I respect the hell out of those guys, the Hector, the whole Huntsman team. I give them respect. Like I appreciate what they did for me and how this year turned out. I think I would have lost my mind. Like that tweet was real. Like I would have lost my mind if I was playing with any other 4 people, probably.
Is that because of what would you say that was most attributed to?
Uh, I mean, obviously the coronavirus that took a toll on a lot of people, as you could tell during the whole season. The game wasn't the best, which obviously, like, as a competitive player, like, I'm always gonna keep grinding the game. I'm always gonna trying to get better, but like, it does take a toll. If you're playing a game and you just can't figure it out over and over and over, and you're doing everything you can, and it's just like it just felt like it was the most day to day game I've ever played in my life. I like look at the way we played FaZe the first time. We 3-0'd them, and that's because we were hot and they were probably like not on it. The next time we play them game 5, the next time we play them 3-1. Like it's literally that game just felt who was hot that day and who wasn't. Like it was just it wasn't a fun time.
Where would you say, when you look back on it now, where would you say Modern Warfare ranks across all COD titles?
No answer.
Okay, fair enough. We can leave it at that. What about season 1 of CDL? Game aside, just like and completely understanding that there's like nobody could control what was going to happen with the pandemic and moving online. Like I certainly give the league a pass on many things because that is a huge undertaking to try and push the league online. But when you look back on it, this was a landmark year for COD competitive, right? With the start of the CDL. So how do you look back on season 1?
I mean, I think it was a good time. I think what they did was great. I think the only few things I'll change was the way champs was set up. We had a week to scrim pickup teams that we had to pay to play MW. Just because no one was playing, there's 4 teams left. Us, FaZe, Dallas, and London. Like, obviously, we're not gonna keep scrimming a team over and over. Like, it wouldn't help anybody. They would catch our strats, we would catch onto their strats. So we're sitting there trying to find a pickup team to play S&D in, and they don't like. I'm not gonna say it, like, obviously they're getting paid, but they're not gonna try 100% like us 4 teams are, and that was a, just not a fun week because one day we just didn't even scrim because we couldn't, and just that. And I'm really glad that they changed the home stands into events instead of just like 2 matches and you're out. Like, I remember that's how it was set up for the first 2 weeks that it got announced. So I'm glad that, but I'd rather have like events, a pool play than a bracket and losers winners. But I mean, you can't get everything you want, so I'm happy with how the first year turned out.
If you had your say, how would season 2 go down?
Um, I
I'm
mean,
asking your opinion.
obviously normal events, pool play back, champs back to normal. Everything just how it was a year ago with like or 2 years ago. Like, just that's when it was the most competitive. Just a winners, a losers, and like the stories that could come out of losers is crazy. The stories coming out like open bracket teams coming out of pool. Like, imagine like a day before, like Thursday, an open brackets held. Like, the top 4 teams come out. They get put in a pool play instantly, and it'll just be that'd be like a cool event back like to go to. Like, it's just, but I mean, that's a perfect world where there's not even land right now. So
Yeah.
I mean, if it was online, that'd be sick too.
I don't know how far these conversations got. Apparently, they were very preliminary, but one of the things we kept hearing going into champs was the idea of a COD bubble. And I'm wondering, let's just imagine that the pandemic is still here and we have to socially distance and LAN events aren't necessarily safe, but we can still have, events like the League of Legends World Championship, which is in a bubble, and the NHL and NBA, etc. If there were to be a COD bubble, what would your opinion on that be?
It'd be chaos. It'd be a lot of arguing, a lot of better. Just the conversation we had behind closed doors was crazy. Just how many arguments there were about this and this and this, and just it's just the bubble would have been insane.
I
There's nothing much else to say about it because it's not a real thing, but it's just it'd
Yeah.
been insane.
Just envisioning the bubble, like the 3 of us with Emily, we were talking about this before we went on the air about how it would be like the greatest content creation environment
Oh,
in the history of
every org would
esports.
have a vlog, just a camera just pointed at their players, just watching them eat, just arguing with another team or something. It would have been hilarious.
Just imagine every team, like Hex in the bubble. Imagine the FaZe clan people in the bubble. Like, it would be insane.
Just like you guys
With
today.
right? With the
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it would be crazy. I kind of almost hope that becomes a real possibility.
Yeah.
Would you want to play in that environment, like to compete in that environment, if that were the thing?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I want to pass a chance to do that. So yeah, I'd definitely do that.
What do you make of another big piece of news was that COD is going to PC with controller options. What did you make of that news?
I don't know. I'm excited to play. That just went past my mind. Like I ordered a new PC obviously because I sent it to Tyler's place just to have a PC down there. But I mean, I think just the news of me joining Atlanta or FaZe was just bigger than that. I felt like sorry to like avoid the question. It's like joining this team was like I don't care what I'm playing on as long as I'm playing with these three and the coaching staff. Obviously, it was just like I'm gonna get shit done no matter what console it is or PC or whatever. I just want to be the best team.
Okay, talk to me about your teammates then. You reunite with the Tiny
You
Terrors.
you
Celium is involved. Like, just tell me about this team. Like, it sounds like an amazing roster, but like, tell me about how excited you are and how this team will compete in 4v4.
I think this is the first team I've been on where I know what my role is gonna be. I think with Clay and Matt, or they're both obviously main ARs too, and this is the first year I'm going into the season knowing what role I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna bring value to this team. Is being that guy, that voice that they could just listen to in game, and they don't have to stress about other people doing wrong things or telling other team or other players that they're doing something wrong while I can. And I'm like that's what I'm so excited for is just like having those three people that are like I think they're all three better than me by far. Just listening to me. I don't know why they would, but they already told me like they would. So I mean,
You are the
and
veteran of the team, right? Yeah, you are
somehow,
the veteran
yeah,
of the team. Yeah.
I'm literally
So
22 years old, the oldest one on the team.
so will you be the IGL then?
I assume so. I
Is
hope
that
so.
is that what you want to be? Like,
I
is that part of the?
Yeah, it's something
Okay.
I really want to be. I think it would be a lot easier to do in 44 instead of a 5-5 format. And obviously Tyler and Chris, they know how I work, and they know I won't like slack in scrims. Like I like to take everything I do super serious because I hate having days where I feel like wow, like I feel like I just did nothing. Like I'm sitting at home, like I I feel like I could have done something more productive than sit here and just around during like and not get better. So they know how I play MC. I've been talking to him like every day. He's a freak of nature, in and out of game.
Hmm.
I think us, anybody on FaZe could back me up on that one. He's a quiet one, but when you get to know him, he's crazy.
There's also a part of this that now Atlanta has their starting four, right? Like, free agency is crazy already. Look at everything that has happened around the league. And Atlanta, however, are one of the teams that is set. You know who the starting four are. Like, is there like a relief to that?
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, I'd rather just doing again. This comes to me like being just the guy who just being who I am. I don't like any last minute things. Like if I want to do something, I want it done now instead of later, just because I can just calm down, relax for the next couple weeks, couple months, and just do me. Like I don't have to sit here and like text people telling them like, yeah, I don't know if I have this set up yet, or like I don't know I don't know what I'm doing yet. And right now it just feels great. Like these just being set. Like I probably everyone could say that in the COD scene. Just roster mania sucks unless you're into drama. Then you're weird.
I don't know. COD, there's never any drama in Call of Duty competitive.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I
Never,
mean there's never
ever.
drama because there's a there's a bug somewhere on Intel Call of Duty's releasing everything.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
knew stuff about me before I did. So
Was
I
there?
got I saw I was joining FaZe before I even said anything. before I talked to anyone after champs. I couldn't believe it.
They broke the news like so early that you didn't even know.
They broke it to me. I was like, okay, let's see what we're doing here.
That's crazy. Are you someone that you would rather like announce it yourself? Like you have like ideas on how to announce? Like I know that like I was listening to a podcast with Hex actually was talking about this, how like he wants to control the narrative in a way, or he wants to create the content to make the announcements.
I
Are you that,
mean,
or
I
do you,
mean,
you don't
I
care?
think, I think, I think I would like that, but just like with how everything goes now in the COD scene, everything's just released. Everything's nothing's even like cool. Like announcements aren't even that cool anymore. Like the Huntsman one, that one was sick just because the like Josefo, like he's the graphic designer. He did like he made it look so good. But it's like I feel like it would have had so much more engagements, likes, retweets if no one knew that was going on. So like to me, just these announcements are just like yeah, everyone knew already. Like why does it matter? It's just it just made it official. It's like talking to a girl and just not saying we're official. That's pretty much what it feels like.
What about some of the other moves? Like, what moves have interested you? What teams? I know there aren't that many completed teams yet, but like, are there any teams or certain players on certain teams out there that interest you, or like, oh wow, they're going to be a threat this year?
I mean that Minnesota team. I like people are saying it just looks weird on paper, but like when it comes down to it, Mike or Major, he ran a flex before in past CODs. Priest does it all. I like that guy's crazy. And Lamar Attach has been a top Call of Duty player for a minute now, and Lamar is probably a real what I've heard from him is a really good IGL in game, and knows like when like even out of game like he knows like yo you have to show up on time like now, and I just think it's a good if they could get their like not even get together like even like come together and just build that chemistry and they'll be a top team for sure.
So now we got a couple minutes left here.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we look forward to Black Ops Cold War. I was surprised to hear that you have not touched the game yet. I find this very interesting. One of the great players out there in the CDL, you have not played a single second of Black Ops Cold War thus far, as we
Well,
talk.
I mean when the streams turned on, I was currently not in the CDL, so if that makes
Fair
sense.
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So how does that work now? Like, do you know when you'll be able to play the game? When
I mean, the
do you
alpha
start
just
streaming?
got released.
You're gonna be part of the you're gonna be grinding the alpha this weekend.
Yeah, of course. I think
Of
I
course.
think we talked about it. I think we're all playing together, except MC again. He freaking nature. I don't know what he's doing. He likes playing by himself.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, I just like to know stuff on my own. I'm like, that's fine. I'll let you do you. So I think me and Chris hit me up to play. I'm pretty sure Tyler's gonna get on and play with us. And hopefully we'll just grind and get better
Oh,
during the alpha.
you're streaming on the FaZe channel this weekend, aren't you?
Yes, Friday.
Yeah, right on. Well, cool. I guess people can look forward to seeing some of that content, and I'm sure we're gonna talk to you down the line, definitely before season 2 begins. It's gonna be an interesting one. It'll definitely be bizarre at first to see you in an Atlanta FaZe uniform, but I'm sure we'll get used to it over time.
Yep.
Arcitys, you're the man. Thank you very much for joining us
Thank
here.
you.